And you know that to be wealthy in the US and Canada or the Western world in general, you cannot be ignorant about your taxes because it takes off a great chunk of your income.
Thank you everyone for joining us on another episode of Iwing Marketplace ChitChat, where we give the opportunities for entrepreneurs to talk about themselves and what they do so that you can learn from them and you can connect with them. Right here with me, I'm with Claude Nchanji all the way in San Antonio. Thanks for joining us, Claude.
Thanks for having me, Ivan.
It's always a pleasure. And this is the second time Claude is here with us to share vital information about, taxes, finance, and, accounting. So Claude, I know you've given us a beautiful introduction before about yourself, but there's some few people that are going to be joining us right now. Can you just, reintroduce yourself?
Of course. Thanks again, Ivan. So my name is Claude Nchanji. I am a CPA, which stands for Certified Public Accountant, and I live in San Antonio, Texas. I own a consulting practice where I help clients position their money and then do tax planning for them, and then help them prepare the taxes as well. And I work with mostly small businesses and individuals as well. And over the years, I've realized that the tax code in the US is so complex that a lot of people don't want to delve into it, right? So that's why you have people like us to help decipher some of those things and apply what is useful or applicable in our situation. So I'm excited to have this chat today. And just for the viewers, this is my second time with Ivan, and I've always echoed that he does a great job giving African entrepreneurs a platform, to showcase what they know and to be able to gather attention and sales to themselves. So thank you for that, Ivan.
Well, thank you so much for, that shout out. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I see quite a good number of people, Asheri, Baby Maluska, Tina. Thank you all for watching. It's such a great thing when you come to cheer us up. But there are lots going on right now, in terms of the new tax law. And so many people will be getting their first time job. Filling the W-4 is always an issue. What advice do you have for people, who are getting their first job in our community when it comes to filling out the W-4?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ivan. We're starting on fire today. So for those who don't know, a W-4 is a form in the US that you fill it out, give the IRS information about yourself so that they can deduct the right amount of tax from your pay. So a lot of us come to the US, we get our first jobs and we need to fill it out. The new form now is such that you just fill out your personal information, so your name, whether you're married or single, and all of that. And then you go down and put the number of dependents that you have. And pretty much that's it. After that, there are many things that don't apply to other people, and then you submit it. Now, the catch here is that the more dependents you have, the less tax they will take, right? So I've seen some people put that they have 2 dependents, whereas they don't even have any dependent, just so that they will take less tax. But that's disadvantageous because at the end of the year, when you're filing your taxes, the information that you put on your W-4 is not going to match what's on your tax return. Guess what? You're going to owe more money than they took. So it's not a good position to be in. I always advise to do what reflects your current situation, right? If you have no dependents, say you have no dependents, they're going to take out a little bit more tax, but that's going to match with your tax filing status at the end of the year. So, it's good to think about that. Now, some people say, hey, I'll just put less dependents because I want more money, and then I'll deal with the payments later. Again, it's good to be aware of the consequences, but also be informed on how to fill out that form.
Wow, thank you so much for that. That's really vital information. I made that mistake myself. And I had to pay $3,000. Trust me, that was not easy. The first job I had, paying that money. But yeah, so some people filed their tax already and they still not gotten anything back from the IRS. Is that something you can help with?
Yeah, that's another great question, man. You're on fire today, Ivan. I know
Yeah,
you're always on point with your questions.
thanks.
But yes, so the last tax year, so we're talking about 2020 taxes. Some people filed 9 months later or whatever. They haven't received the money for some reason. The IRS has millions of tax returns pending that they haven't worked on, right? Either those who filed it in through paper, or maybe they amended it and then there are delays for various reasons. And the IRS is really short on workforce, to be honest. So a lot of times, if there's no mistake in the tax return and the IRS says they're still processing it, there's really nothing anybody can do. To be honest, the IRS is, such an organization that you can't rush them. We have to work on their timelines. So we can only try to, the thing that I've always advised my clients is find out where your local office is. If they're taking appointments now, with the COVID thing, you can't do walk-ins anymore. If they're taking appointments, make a trip there, talk to them, and they can try to help you out. But calling them is not going to help, and sending them letters to put them pressure is certainly not going to help.
Thank you for that. So let's touch our community, all those who have like side hustles and those who want to start up business. I know they are waiting for these questions when related to taxes, because there are some new laws that are circulating now that if you're receiving payment through Cash App or Zelle, you have to report that. Can you give us some more insight about all of that?
Of course. Yes, that's one of the changes that came in with the CARES Act that was signed, the coronavirus, all the tax changes related to that. So previously, when you receive payments for commercial services, right? So you receive commercial payments through any of the apps, so Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or any credit processing entity. They're required to tell the IRS, or they were required to tell the IRS when you had at least 200 transactions totaling more than $20,000 in a year. So even those who drive Uber, if they make more than $20,000, they get what they call a 1099K, as in kilo. But that rule has now changed such that if that amount that you receive, and that started January 1 of this year, that amount that you receive, if it's $600, they will send you a 1099K and tell the IRS, that you got that money, right? So, but it's important to note that this only applies to payments for commercial services, right? Or for commercial goods. So if you're sending me money, say you're just sending me money like a gift to a friend, or we want to split a bill, that doesn't apply. Which means that if you're using PayPal, it's going to be very important to pick the category. You know how when you send money through category, they say friends and family support or something like that. You've got to pick that. If you pick payments for goods and services, the receiver of it is definitely going to be on the hook, because they will, if their receipts total $600, they're going to have to report that. The IRS, the processing company, be it Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, will send them a statement, and they'll be required to report it to the IRS as income and ultimately pay tax on it.
Let's touch back on one thing. So if you receive less than $600, you don't have to worry about reporting that. But if you receive more than 600,000, $600 US, you definitely have to report that.
Yes, you would have to report that, because the IRS will know about it. They will send you a statement, the 1099K, and then send that statement to the IRS. And again, like I said, it's for commercial payments. So it doesn't matter even if you're an individual, but if somebody sends you money and states there that it's for goods or services, then you're going to fall in that category.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about you before we dive back into more discussion on, how to help our community. So last year, how was the, filing for you? How many businesses did you or individuals did you file their taxes?
So last year was my greatest tax season yet, right? I filed a total of 500 and a little over 500 tax returns. Now this includes individuals and businesses, and that is the busiest I've been since I started my practice. And let me say this: a lot of it, the traffic that I got, came after my interview with you, right, on Iwing, because we talked a lot about Yeah, we talked a lot about the PPP. We talked a lot about the EIDL loan from the SBA. We talked a lot about, and some people really didn't understand those programs. But after our interview, a lot of them reached out to me and said, you explained it well, and it cleared out a lot of confusion for me. And I really like the way you simplified issues. So therefore, I would like you to be my tax person, right? That's how the conversation went. And then because of the internet that we have the ability now to have clients everywhere. I had clients from Maryland, New Mexico, and they always lead with, I saw your interview on Iwing Marketplace, and I went on his platform, and you're listed there as a CPA. So I'm trying to see if you can help me. So we set up a Zoom meeting, we talked, and then one thing they are now my client. And guess what? They are referring and referring. So the torpedo effect is great. So I say this to echo that, you may just think this is trivial, Ivan, because you just, okay, we list with you and then you give us an interview like this. But I guarantee you the effect that it has is long time, right? If we have to calculate the lifetime value of each customer, you see that it's great just because it generated from you and then it spilled over to many others.
Wow, thanks so much for mentioning that. Actually, this is like a booster to me and my team. We'll keep working hard in order to serve our community. This is what we love to do, and we're here to help as many people as possible. But what do you find interesting about being a tax accountant and a business advisor? What gets you going? What makes you happy?
Yes, so my excitement, my adrenaline, I'm sure you can tell when I'm talking about these topics, how it flows, right? Because I have a desire to bridge the gap. Traditionally, especially here in the US, CPAs have always been limited to not people like me, so not blacks, not people like me and you. Matter of fact, still now in the US, we still have less than 1% of CPAs who are black. So because of that, it helps us change the narrative. And that to be wealthy in the US and Canada or the Western world in general, you cannot be ignorant about your taxes because it takes off a great chunk of your income. So my excitement flows from helping my people, right? Helping them navigate the rules, helping them go through some of the ambiguities that they would otherwise not be able to go through just because it's too complex for them to wrap their minds around. The second thing is that I get to work with confidential information, right? I work with people's social information, how much money they make, all their family information. The two most important people in your life are your doctor and your CPA, because your health and your wealth are what are important, So that excitement gets me from working with them and getting to advise them on the best practices to go through and navigate together. And the important thing too is here, Ivan, we grow together, because as my clients grow, I grow as well, and I grow with them. And that concurrent growth is definitely what we thrive on as a community.
Wow, that is so wonderful. And for all those who are wondering now, who is going to file my tax? What are the benefits they will get when they come to Claude Nchanji?
Okay, so we have, and at my firm, we have a unique way of dealing with our clients, because I'm not a big practice. I'm small intentionally, right? Yes, the growth is coming, a lot of it organic, but the benefit that we have is that personal touch, that I'm going to be diligent with you, go through your specific circumstance. The second thing is that traditionally, we've always thought that audits and reviews or whatever can only go to a certain class of people, right? But the Irs can audit any tax return at any time. It's picked by a computer program. So what I've done now is I've partnered with some people that everybody that files with me from this year moving forward is going to have a free enrollment in what they call Audit Protect. So if your tax return is picked for being audited or reviewed, guess what? We have a house of experts, lawyers, CPAs that will just refer your case to at no cost to you, right? Previously, we did that. So that's at least a $60 value in the marketplace, right? But that we're giving that to our clients free. So all of tax returns that we're going to do, we're going to provide that service free if you need it, which means that we will enroll you. Now that gives you what? Peace of mind. When we started filing on TurboTax and all of these things, they'll tell you peace of mind, and you pay, I think, $40, $50 to enroll in that service. That's the service that we're giving free, right? So that's the first benefit that they're going to get. The second benefit, of course, is that personal touch and the availability to answer all the questions that you have, navigate the ambiguity with you every step of the way.
Wow, that is wonderful, man. CLZ, you are doing a wonderful job. CLZ250 Consulting, you are amazing. You are a petty boutique.
Thank you, Ivan.
But I see a lot of benefits working with you, which you will not get in some of the big firms and stuff like that. So that is really wonderful. So now let's touch on helping the Iwing Marketplace community in particular, and everyone. There are so many people who are thinking of registering their business now moving forward because they want to expand. Is that something you do at CLZ Consulting?
Yes, of course. So what we do, one of the services that we offer is business registration. So a lot of people start operating out as sole proprietors, which is recommended. And then you go on, you get a little bit more money. You want to register, which is also good because the bigger you get, you want to protect yourself and your assets, which is something that we go through with our clients as well. So we help them register. And depending on the service that they do or the business that they do or that they're in, we pick the best form of the company to register for them, be it as a partnership, as a C corporation, as an S corporation. We can go a little bit into that later, but I know we like to keep this short so we can keep the people engaged. But we help them register their companies and then pick that form of business that's going to be of help to them. A lot of people don't know that, and more so us Africans, right? So those are some of the things that we do, and we definitely do that for them. And here's one other thing that we can do, Ivan, just because of our great partnership. We can go ahead, and I'm stating that here now, that if we any business which already lists with you comes to CLZ250 Consulting and they need our services to register their business just for that category or any kind of advice, we're going to give them a 10% discount as long as they are already listed with Iwing Marketplace.
Wow, this is a wonderful offer, and I'm going to make sure everybody hears about this. I'm going to spread the news out to all the subscribers. Thank you so much for, thinking about the Iwing Marketplace community. So also,
of course,
there are so many people coming up now with their businesses. And as we all know, it's always a difficult process to manage everything yourself, like bookkeeping, keeping up with the taxes. And, what are some tips that you give people on, how to manage their business in terms of bookkeeping and getting better return on their taxes?
Okay, so the first part of the question, bookkeeping, that's got to be your bread and butter as a business person. And it doesn't only have to do with being like using a software, maybe like QuickBooks or Paychecks or whatever you have out there, but just keeping meticulous records in terms of here's how much money I made, here's how much money I spent. Once you have that kind of record, you go to almost any tax person out there, right? They're going to help you file a tax return. What the touch that we do is that being a CPA, I'm able to embellish that and make those statements better for you, such that if you go to get a loan from a financial institution or you want to expand your business and they require your profit and loss and balance sheet, that's something that I can do for you, provide it for you, produce it for you, and you're able to go through that. A lot of small businesses don't do bookkeeping. So that's some of the things that we go through with them, help them, train them on their QuickBooks. They pay $20 a month. We help them on the reporting, right? They just come in and log in at the end of the month, do their adjustments for them, and life is easy. On the second part of the tips that they can do or to get a better tax refund or whatever it is, I want us to first of all understand that when you get a refund, that means that you gave the IRS an interest-free loan, right? Because it means that you paid more tax than you should have paid. That's what a refund is, pretty much. Of course, this doesn't include the credit. Some people have kids, and I know we'll touch a little bit on the child tax credit because a lot of people got that money and they're wondering if they're going to pay it back. But anyway, the general tips that I give is if you have a business, you can deduct everything. Your laptop, technology, whatever it is, those things, you can deduct them. The higher the deductible expenses, the less the income, the less the tax. Of course, that's general. But I mentioned earlier about being specific with our customers. When you come, you're dear to us, we will work through with you, tailor your solutions, make the tax code work for you.
So you mentioned about PPP and tax child code. I'm not a professional accountant. I don't know how to, but can you elaborate more about that? What is going on in that domain?
Of course. Okay. So some people got a PPP loan and the loan was forgiven. If that loan was forgiven, right, that's, of course, those are all business people or whatever it is. That's going to be extraordinary income to you because it was forgiven. However, every expense that you undertook with the PPP funds, they're fully tax deductible. So it's a win-win situation, right? You got the income from there, but you also spent it here. So it's basically going to be a wash. You know what I mean? That's for the PPP. Now, for the child tax credit, the advanced child tax credit, they gave some families money up to $300 per month per child, right? And people are wondering, are we going to pay that back and all of that? Yes, some people would have to pay it back. Here's how it works. The IRS is going to send you a letter if you haven't received it yet. That's going to tell you how much money they sent you from July until December. Okay? Now, in that letter, they're going to tell you that amount. And if you're married and you file jointly with your spouse, each spouse is going to get that letter differently. Then they will divide the amount that they gave you into two. Okay? Now, what happens is that you are now able to file 2021 when we're filing your taxes for 2021 tax year. You can get up to $3,600 per child as long as the child is less than 6 years old, or $3,000 per child if they're over 6. So they will compare that amount with how much money they gave you. Okay, and then they will see if they pay you less than that overall, then they will pay you the extra. So let's say, for example, you got a total of $2,700 from July till December. And then depending on your tax return, it turns out that, okay, let's say you have 3 kids, right? So each kid is going to have 3,600 if they're all below 6. Total is 10,000 something. So it means that you have the extra on top of the 2,700. Subtract 2,700, give you the balance. Of course, this is also subject to income limitations and all of that. Now, if you make more money, you pay some of that 2,700 back.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
So
this is a lot. This is a lot. I think
definitely
we should end here now so that we can rewatch this or come back to you and ask more questions. This is like,
yes, indeed.
I don't know how you manage to have all this information in your brain and you're just spitting them out like, you know, kudos, man. You're doing really well and we really appreciate that.
You,
and we're always grateful when you come out to share information like this. But before we go, there's one thing you made mention of, that there are not many African CPAs. What encouragement can you give our young people out there to, you know, study accounting or become CPA? What advice or what word or something?
Yeah, great question. In order for the profession not to become extinct, we know that IT is very popular these days, right? And everybody goes the IT way. That's all good. One thing to realize about the typical accounting is that those jobs are being replaced by robots, because typical accounting is what? Book entry, record entry, which is something that can easily be replaced. There is that analytical piece of it, that human touch that can never, ever be replaced. I don't care the amount of machine learning or artificial intelligence that you throw into it, right? So what you have as a CPA is that skill that somebody is always going to pay for your opinion on something. Because what do all these workers have in common? They all make money. What's the second thing that they have in common when they make money? They'll need somebody to help them manage that money or advise them on how to use that money, right? Or how to position it best. That's the work that the CPA comes in to do. So I've had to mentor a few people and, push them to take those exams because there are 4 exams. It's also challenging. So the difficulty in it, but the return on investment is such that it lasts a long time. So while there are not a lot of people now going into accounting, especially here in the US, accounting is very common back home. And the only notion is that they used to think that accountants have access to a lot of money and therefore can do whatever they want with it, right? But I try to mentor as many people as I can, and also I am a member of the National Association of Black CPAs in the US. And some of the things that we do is mentor young Black people, kids who want to be CPAs. And I think I have about 4 or 5 that I'm working with now in different states. So that's the program that we do to try to give back to the community.
Wow, this is so wonderful. Thanks so much, Claude, for all you do to our community. Thanks everyone for joining us today. There've been so many comments, but I have to keep track because I was learning also. So I couldn't respond to some of those comments and reply. But, Shulika, BB, there's so many comments they made. We're so grateful for all of that, and I will be sending you my young nephew who wants to be an accountant for you to mentor him as well. So,
of course.
Thank you so much, Claude, for joining us. This video will be available on YouTube, Facebook, and on all our podcast streaming channels. Thank you, Claude.
Thank you for having me, Ivan. Have a great day.
Have a great day too. Thank you all again for watching, and we're out.